match in the men's épée event here at the Budapest Grand Prix. Grumier of France, world number 1 on your left, up against the world number 2, Enrico Garozzo from Italy. And we're expecting an absolute thriller here. The top 2 fencers in the world go at each other. The teams have qualified for the Olympic Games. They'll be fighting surely for what is almost certain to be a confirmed place in those teams, both as an individual and a team member. And it gives me great pleasure to welcome back for the final time here in Budapest 2016 our insightful analysis from international referee Dave Baker. Welcome back, Dave.
Thanks for the entire time, mate. It's been fantastic. Loved every second of it.
Well, what do you say about this one? I mean, world number 1 against world number 2, so you can't really ask for more at the end of a Grand Prix tournament. But are we expecting fireworks?
I think, gosh, I mean, we just had 2 phenomenal hits by Grumier, starting just like he did against Garozzo. Wonderful timing, wonderful counterattacks. Rico's going to have to work hard. That's why he's number 1 in the world.
Yeah, we can't really, as I say, ask for much more here at this Grand Prix. The middle of a trio of Grand Prix that are the final qualifiers for the Olympic Games. We were all done and dusted with Olympic qualification here by the 32, but of course ranking points really valuable for all the fencers left in the tournament. But the story continues next weekend in Seoul, and it's the last event for the men's and women's sabreurs.
That'll be a cracker. You heading out there to continue your great work back?
Oh, that's very kind of you to compliment me. I will be going out there and I will be working. I'm not going to suggest for 1 second it's anywhere near great, but it's certainly good fun, and it's fantastic the FRA are able to bring you coverage from the last 3 qualifiers for the Olympic Games. And we will press on and go to the final 3 events in Rio, Moscow and Shanghai. And in between that, we've got the zonal qualifiers. We've got, they won't necessarily be brought to you on the live stream, but the European Championships absolutely will.
Yeah, looking forward to that. And they'll have such a huge implication for rankings and how the composition of the tableau at the Olympic Games will look like. It's going to be absolutely storming championships in Poland, correct?
Yeah, in Torun, Poland. Quite right, and a real big one for both these guys hailing from the European zone. Here it's Grumier who's absolutely storming away with this one. He is 4-1 up, and he is, say 4-1 up, he's 5-1 up. I looked down for a second at the replay, 5-1 up, and there's some discussion going on between them here. Look at this replay. Is there a... Well, that looks like a hit to me.
Yep, just caught him on the upper arm. Probably was maybe caught one of the folds of the jacket or something, so he didn't feel it. But no, thankfully that great coverage there, very clear.
Yeah, slow motion replay, absolutely beautiful. Gives us an opportunity at the latter part of the events to show you some of this beautiful sport, the speed that perhaps is a little bit more digestible to the general viewer.
Oh, absolutely, these guys are going at 100 miles an hour. It's great to be able to slow it down. I think this is very similar to the fight with Boczko, isn't it? He started off so well, lots of control, lovely counterattacks, and just hasn't missed anything at the forward target.
Yeah, great stuff. World number 1. I mean, look at his season, Grumier. He's a currently European champion, won in Montreux last year. He got a silver medal at the World Championships. He picked up a World Cup bronze medal in Tallinn and won Heidenheim, perhaps the biggest event in fencing. But it's been punctuated with a couple of finishes in the 64, going out in effectively his first round of the competition.
Yeah, I can't remember who we went out to in Vancouver. I know we went out in the 64. I refereed his match in the 64 in Doha. We went out to Jason Pryor, who was an American athlete who qualified for the Olympic Games today. I think it's tough at the top because there's only one way to go, and also you come up against a fencer with nothing to lose. Because it gets reseeded, so it can be someone that's very low, scraped into the 64. It's a lovely riposte. Wonderful touch there by Enrico. So it can be tough. You can be up against someone that might have finished 250th in the pools, won a couple of DEs, so absolutely nothing to lose, complete off their shoulders, and they fence a stormer against the world number one. You see it not infrequently, and as you say, it's happened a couple of times already this season. He's had some losses in the last 64. But I mean, again, punctuated with some storming wins at the European Championships in Heidenheim.
Yeah, exactly.
Two of the biggest competitions there is.
And is there an element that because the top 16 in the world do get a bye directly into the 64, that if there is going to be a shock with the top seeds going out, it is going to be before they've had the chance that some of the fencers would have had to warm up through the preliminaries?
No, sure. I mean, it's clearly not on a different day. But again, the beauty of being world number one means that you're on first, so 8:30, 9 o'clock in the morning. There is that risk.
Well, here we see coverage from the piste side. Cameras right up close with the fencer and the coach there. Garozzo taking on some information. You see the coach is actually facing away from the French end as we go down there, so that Grumier and his coach, who's Aubry, cannot see the hand signals and little giveaways. This is what I want you to do, but it doesn't show the signals.
Nothing there from Aubry or Go. We'll have to see with the fencer's actions what they're doing, but the distance is much, much larger than anything we've seen in the two semi-finals. They're starting from much further apart.
A measure of respect for each other?
I think so. I mean, they're sort of feeling each other out, but again, you'd think that would lead to sort of a 1 or 2 hit period, but look, we had 11 wonderful hits in that period. They're not mucking around. And it just shows, I mean, the athleticism and the point control. I mean, I just haven't seen any of them miss, you know. It's all forward target, lovely hits around the hand and the upper forearm. It's been fantastic to watch. Absolutely first-class final.
Well, we're in the second period. Grumier, the world number one, is 8-3 up against Garozzo, the world number 2. And this for the gold medal. And the last action here from the Budapest Grand Prix of 2016 has been a tremendous tournament, and finishing with a flourish here in the men's FA final.
Bit more of a measured start to the second period. A few foot hits, but no other commitments. And that's the risk you're going without the blade, and the angulation that Grumier is able to get so quickly.
It looked to me like Garozzo did try and take the blade.
Yeah, he just clipped the guard on the way through, and I
Right.
think that's just been enough to displace the point. You can give that French grip, just get that extra angulation. If you flick the guard, just going to be enough to displace that point. And it ends up being one light against you.
Yeah. Great. We could see the replay there showing that. And you're here to describe it. It's fantastic. And this time, Garozzo goes launching and flying into attack, almost to the untrained eye like mine, not really prepared at all.
Yeah, hands too low. It almost looked like he was trying to lead into one of those broken time attacks that he used quite well against the Korean. But in the end, he's just got his arm way too low. And for a fencer of that quality, I mean, he's just going to step back, counter-attack, place the point somewhere on your upper arm. Likewise, he's tried to adjust, but you can't be attacking these fencers when they're stepping back, because you've got all the time in the world just to make room for that counter-attack. You've really got to be, this is getting a bit silly, you've really got to be choosing that right moment to attack, and that right moment to attack is not running away. Same thing, he sort of starts with that parry with opposition, comes off the blade, and he's just too slow. The remise hits him. He's got to hold that opposition in. Otherwise, get out and use your feet. Don't just stand there.
Grumier just not giving Garozzo any time here, and perhaps that's a measure of the respect that Grumier has for Garozzo, that he's saying, well, I'm not going to muck around against this extremely talented young Italian. I'm going to press it through.
Did he award the point? No. 3. Good. I'm sure. I didn't even look at the referee. I thought it was so obvious that wouldn't be annulled. I think the slightly over-enthusiastic scoreboard attendance. You see, you just can't be doing that. It's just like 2 hits ago. You can't. Grumier's running away. He's got all the time in the world, and it's just a very simple opposition flick riposte.
Yeah, well, Garozzo's just running into Grumier time and time again, and perhaps despite being the world number 2, a little bit of extra experience from the Frenchman here. and has taken him to the title here in very, very quick fashion. Grumier